stinging nettle. So we actually grow stinging nettle here on our farm for our skincare. But there's quite a lot of species out there. There's like 2,000 species of stinging nettle out there in the world, which makes it one of the most adaptable plants to grow. And fantastic because it's so full of amazing components to it. So we grow the local one called Urtica incisa. So the way that you can tell which one you've got is quite simply with the leaves. So this, take a little snippet here. So this here, you can see the leaves are opposite each other. So that's a really good way to tell that this is the native species. So have a little bit of a close up there. You can see that the leaves too are almost like a triangle as well, and loads of hairs on them as well. So we actually grow our stinging nettle here in our chook yard. The whole reason that we do is because stinging nettle, the native one, loves really super moist soil and lots of nitrogen too. So it's got to be very rich, moist, wet. Actually, not wet, just moist. It's got to be quite well drained. So you can find them readily in gullies. So in cool, temperate climates as well. Even though there's species, different thousands, hundreds of species growing around Australia, this one is the native one. So it really doesn't matter what species of stinging nettle that you use, because they've all relatively got the same sort of compounds in them. So the same, if it stings, it's good. So we grow it here in the chook area because it's got all of those components in here. It just goes really super well. It usually grows up to about 1 metre high, but ours doesn't get that high because we harvest it a lot. We come in here and we chop him down quite a lot, and the chooks actually go through it. They don't seem to mind, do they, Jim?
Yeah.
They can see like the chook track going through the stinging nettle. It doesn't seem to affect them, but it affects us, doesn't it? Do you remember when you were young what you used to call it?
Owie bite you.
Owie bite you. That's right, owie bite you, because it does. And the whole reason that it does, I'll get my point, my little dude here. So those little spikes there are little hypodermic needles. So they actually inject the actual needles in there, and they do inject a folic acid. So the two main, like there's quite a lot of compounds in there, but the two main ones are folic acid and also histamine. So, and folic acid is the same acid that ants and bees sting you as well. Quite interesting, isn't it? That a plant and insects got the same sort of compound in them. So this is my trusty USB microscope. So I actually use this in my lab. It's fantastic. It connects to my phone, and I can zoom right in there and take some great shots of bacteria and also of plants. So let's take a photo of that. One of the really good things for stinging nettle is arthritis. Now I'm not going to do it, but it's really difficult to get the folic acid out of the stinging nettle to, like, when you dry it, it dries up, of course. When you put it into a tea, it changes the compound. So folic acid is linked to relieving joint pain for arthritis. So if you actually grab that leaf and put it where and press it into your skin purposely, you're going to be injecting all of that folic acid in. It's going to help with your arthritis. and they used to whip people with arthritis back in the day. Indigenous people too, they were eating this species well before Europeans came and introduced their species too, because you can use the fresh leaves in soups, you can make pesto, you can dry it, you can make tinctures, you can use the root, you can use the leaves in different things. So I'll go further into what we can do, and I'll teach you how to make a balm, a stinging nettle balm, tea, tinctures, and we're going to have some fun with it too, Gemma. We're going to dye. Yeah. We're going to do some stinging nettle dye.
Yeah.
Yeah, on some bags. Alright, so we're out here today to harvest, so let's get to it, hey Gem?
Yep.
Do like a lot of mulch, they like a lot of fertilizer, they like it well drained. So the mulch that we use in the chook area is comfrey leaf. So this is our comfrey leaf that we've cut from our big harvest down at the herb garden. So this is our mulch. So we're going to mulch, 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 mulch. And look, the fertilizer, we don't come in here and actually fertilise the nettle in here because the chooks go through it and they have their droppings, and it seems to work. So it's a very closed system in here. We don't really have to do a lot. But I have tried digging these up and putting them down in our herb garden, and we'll take you down there after here, and I'll show you it's not really doing as well as it is up here, because it does like part shade as well, but they can tolerate a bit of sun. It's quite sunny down there, and they do need a pH of about 6 or 7. The peacocks look so weird when they molt their feathers, isn't it?
Yeah.
These are rhizomes, so they do grow so well by transplanting a rhizome. You can do it by seed, but I've never done it by seed, so I can't advise. When planting stinging nettle, this is a rhizome. So that's the best way to plant them, is through rhizomes. You can actually see little plants coming up there. So I've harvested this one, and what I'm going to do is just simply make a little channel in very well composted soil, free draining, lots of organic matter. Backfill him, pat it down, give it a good water. That's all you have to do. I know, go straight through these plants, don't they?
I know.
Ow! Got me on my leg. So this is down at our herb garden, and this is the stinging nettle here that we transplanted down after the fires actually. So the soil, we're still getting the green manure and the nitrogen and the mulch onto the garden. So these guys aren't as prolific as the ones up in the chook area, where there's loads and loads of nitrogen and beautiful soil. So when you see stinging nettle going to flower and seeding as well, don't consume it as in fresh in smoothies or tea or in pesto, because it has a high amount of calcium carbonate, so like a lime, and it can actually affect the kidneys. So make sure it's not flowering, and it's still okay for tinctures and in alcohol, but definitely not for fresh consumption.